Hey guys, Nicolina here from the Baby Playbook podcast. Thank you so much for tuning in again. It's so good to have you back, especially if you're tuning in to catch part 2 of last week's episode, which was a feature episode of the Mothers and Daughters podcast by Deanne and Jordana, who luckily, and it was such a privilege, I was invited to be on and feature with alongside my mum, Danica. This was when I was pregnant with Leo, to give you a little bit of context. And I got to sit down next to my mum and really share in my experience as becoming a first-time mum, also share in how our relationship changed during that time. And my mum got to share her experience as well, becoming a mum of 3 daughters, very close in age, in a country where she knew nobody. She had no support. She had to learn English. She had to get another job. It was such a crazy experience for my parents, and I always reflect back on it and just with amazement and admiration for how my mum persevered and how amazing of a childhood and life that I got to live, and still continue to have a great relationship with mum. So in this part 2 episode, we delve into a couple of different topics here, and one of those is actually our experience with COVID. So when I had Noah, which was early 2020, it was like the peak of when COVID was really starting to go down across the world. So it really meant that I had a different experience to other mums previous to that when it came to having my first baby, and for example having a virtual mothers group, and just all really odd things. Well, they didn't seem too odd to me because it was my first experience. I had nothing to compare it to, but it was definitely different to, for example, my sister who had babies a couple of years before me. So I got to experience that. I got to explain a little bit about that in this part 2 episode. And my mum and I also get some rapid fire questions thrown at us from Jordana and Deanne, just about, what we love about each other, what things and traits that we feel like we've picked up from each other. It was really, really interesting. So I hope you enjoy part 2 of the episode. Listen in, give it a rating at the end, follow, subscribe, and I hope that you love it.
Yeah, and I'm not sure why, why mums feel so guilty saying I'd like to go back to work because I want a little bit of sanity. I think that's just the reality, raising a child 5 days a week, going into 7 days a week, even though, your partner may be home for those 2 days on the weekend, is really hard work. And so if you don't have some sort of a break, and I'm calling work a break, you can really be pushed to the limit. And I think, honestly, I'm probably a better mum for having my career and having some time to myself, and then picking up my child at the end of the day and like giving him all the love that I can.
Yes.
And then rolling into the weekend and really celebrating that. That's what makes me a great mum. If I was not doing that, I think I would just be more of a terrible person to him. So
yeah. And it's true. And it's, it is nice to, I think we've learnt from lockdown, families aren't designed to be together 24/7, regardless. I mean, obviously when you have a newborn, yes, you can't, there's very few times you can step away. But as a family unit, we're not designed to be around each other all day, every day. It's not healthy for anybody. So to have that break, whether that's taking time for yourself to do exercise or go to work, is extremely important. And yes, it's very hard to shift the mother guilt, but we'll get there eventually.
Definitely.
Danica, how different are your 3 girls from each other? I know you said they're confident, and are they all different career paths or not career minded?
Nikki being the youngest one, I cry one time when they say in the school they have to say, who is your role model? And she said, my sister Maria.
You were hoping for the mum.
Yeah, the teacher was telling me that the thing, and like Nikki was like really trying to be same like Maria, achieving, and they did achieve a lot. They did lots of community work, both of them. Like Maria used to do community radio, and then when Maria was going to stop, Nikki moved to that, and like they did lots of things together, and they supported each other, which was really good.
It's
Nikki,
lovely.
she said, when she was growing up, because she was the smallest one, we used to say, Nikki, what would you like to be when you grow up? She used to say famous.
She's pretty close now.
Beyonce.
Yeah.
Basically Beyonce.
Yeah, and then I used to,
Good goal.
I used to
It's
be
a good goal.
Buying her pajamas with the stars and stuff like that, just to, and there she is. She did, again, like she did double degree. She studied economics, commerce, and media. And she was good. And part of her job, she used to do a couple days in Macquarie Bank working there. And one day she said, I don't know, for some reason she was taking me to work. She needed my car. And on the way she said, Mom, I applied. There was a competition, radio competition, full-time radio presenter. And I laughed. And I said, which station? And she said, the age. I said, oh, I don't like to listen to them. Anyway, and
Supportive.
I wasn't much supportive,
Honest.
but I said, oh, look, it's fine. And they are from how many thousands appliances. Nikki became top 100. The next day, she was top 10. And the day when they have to decide top 3 or 2, I drive her to the station, and I was driving to work, but my radio was on. And I arrived to work, and I have to park in the garage. And the door was opening, but I needed to hear what will be happening. And I stayed in front of the garage. I wouldn't go there. And there was a car before me. And I said, okay, doesn't matter. I can hear. And then I just walk in, and they announced she is the one who will get the position.
Wow.
Oh, my God. And I was still in a car, and I was teary. Like,
Oh, that's so lovely. What a beautiful story.
And my co-worker came. She said, are you all right? And I said, oh, this is happening. And then she went to upstairs, tell everybody, and I have to buy a cake and celebrate there. But it was really nice to see. And there how Nikki started to be famous. She left the bank. We say to her, Nikki, but you will make more money in the bank. She said, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. I want to be famous.
Her dream of being famous, it's somewhere there.
That's lovely.
Yeah.
Do you think?
And I'm very, very proud of their achievements. Like they're all very different, but they all achievers.
Nicolina, do you think that being now working as a parenting writer, do you think it helps or hindered your parenting journey, or do you feel like you kind of fell into it after having Noah?
I think it's a job that I wouldn't have been able to do if I wasn't a parent. I think, to be honest, I tell people that my job is answering questions about my toddler, because I have so many questions on my mind all the time. And, I get to go to work and research into it and find the answers and talk to experts, but while also having such great fun, knowing what's new in the industry. And you guys would know, and you would know, having a third now as well, how things change and so many products pop up here and there. So I feel really privileged that I'm able to do the job while I'm a parent and while I'm really in the thick of it with my first, as opposed to if I wasn't, I really wouldn't understand a lot of it. I think that when my sister had her kids and I used to think that I understood what having kids was about, I had no idea. And I really think that until you are a parent yourself, you really don't fully understand that relationship and that responsibility.
Do you think when you became a parent, you really appreciated what your parents and your mum had done for you? Obviously, because they'd moved and they were completely on their own. I'm sure you appreciated it before, but did you have a new level of appreciation once you had Noah?
Oh, yeah. I think your relationship changes instantly with your mum. I think that, I used to, well, now I totally regret, and feel so bad for all the times I never answered her phone call when I was out with my friends, or I stressed her out, or I came home really late and she was still up. I just never understood that amount of caring from a person. And then once I became a mum, you all of a sudden understand where this extra love comes from, and this extra worry and anxiety and pressure to make sure that your child is okay and feeling loved and feeling well. So there's definitely an extra level of appreciation. And on top of that, I think a big help for me getting through my postnatal blues was that my mum would always give me a great little pep talk, every day, every couple of days when I would call her, really in the pits of the newborn mess. But I used to wake up in the morning, I remember, on, the really tough days, and just say to myself, literally, well, how did mum do it?
Yeah.
Mum had 3 kids and she was by herself. Nikki, you have, I used to say to myself, Nikki, you have your mum here, you have your friends, you have your sister, and just really reiterate to myself how much support I had around me to be able to get through the day. I think that was really crucial in just, prepping me up and making sure that I had the confidence to delve right in those, those days where it was such a struggle.
How's it been with the pandemic in the last couple of years, and now we're into our third? And how did you cope, Nicolina? How did?
Yeah, and I think it was that the lack of family around you physically makes a big difference. As Mum said, we have FaceTime, but it's just not really the same. And I was lucky enough that I gave birth at a time when there wasn't a lockdown, but very quickly after we went back into a lockdown. So as you can imagine, I think I had a 3-month-old baby in an apartment with my husband, and not being able to, my husband went back to work. He was physically going to work. He couldn't work from home. So that was extra hard for me. But because my reprieve was getting in the car and going to my mum's house, or getting in the car and going to my mother-in-law's house. That was my reprieve that was my breath of fresh air during the week. And I just didn't have that anymore. So I think, for both of us, it was just a real change in perspective when it came to family and how much they mean to you, and whether that was, physically being able to see and spend time with a new grandchild, whether it was seeing, a sister that you rely on so much, whether it was, for example, my mum witnessing, the older generation be parting with their family and passing away at a time when they can't even see their really kids. I think that they just put it into perspective for the both of us. It was a tough time, so we're very relieved that we're kind of on the other side of it.
Definitely.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it would be like to have a newborn in that phase, because you feel so isolated as it is, as much as you have mothers groups and things like that, but that wouldn't be happening so frequently. And I feel like, as you said, if you don't have that physical connection with people, screen time is great, but it's never the same. And I don't think people are as vulnerable, so to speak, when they're on screen, because you feel like you almost have to perform in a way. And so I can only imagine what that would be like.
Yeah. My husband and I used to joke, because my husband is Arabic, and we weren't allowed visitors in hospital. And we used to joke like it was the greatest gift, because we didn't have to entertain 20 people in the room visiting.
Yes.
They were so excited that this baby was coming. We thought, this is great. We can be in our little bubble. And don't get me wrong, it was amazing having those first few days of just us, just a family of 3, and really, making the most of it. But then once you come home, mums would know this, there's a sense of reality that kicks in. And as, the visiting drops off and as the help drops off, then there's another wave of reality that hits. And that reality is a real tough one, because that's when, for example, your partner is back at work and you don't have maybe your mum was staying with you and she's gone home, and it's really isolating. So to have that for an extended period of time because of lockdown is incredibly tough.
Venting long, went too long, and it was hard. Like when we speak on the FaceTime, and the kids will try to touch you. Oh, that was the hardest for me. Like, oh no. But
I have to ask, where do you find your inspiration, though? I mean, I'm sure looking after Noah, not every day, but having him around all the time, you find your inspiration for your reels and your content. But do you ever feel like you got inspiration from your own childhood, or do you just kind of look around and know what it's like to be a modern parent, quote unquote?
Well, I think, the reels on Instagram really started because, just when I was at home and alone with a newborn, I found it so crazy and ridiculous. And it was just such a roller coaster. And I honestly just thought, nobody really talks about this. Nobody, I've never seen this online. No mum ever told me how wild this was going to be. And I have a sister with 2 kids, and she would, in passing say how hard things were and, had a rough night with the newborn or whatever. But I just felt like there was this cloud over the reality of parenting. And it's such a brutal reality that really sometimes you can just laugh about it. You can just laugh about how ridiculous it is that you are wearing a stained, milk-soaked T-shirt, and you drop down to pick up the 5th package of clothes that you've bought for your newborn because you've just spent the morning shopping because you don't have anything else to do. Like, it's such a bizarre situation to be in. So I just started the reels as a way of, I guess, connecting with other mums. And I hoped that when I posted them, that I wasn't the only one that was thinking it, or else, people would have just thought I was very weird and very much not coping with motherhood. But, I got a wave of mums just saying how they couldn't relate to it more. They were in the exact same situation with the exact same feelings and the exact same occurrences happening week by week. And so it was a really just nice way of making sure that I wasn't the only one, and also being able to connect with other mums and have a bit of a laugh. And now, as I go through all the different stages with Noah, I've been through the newborn stage and then the late baby, and now he's a toddler, which is just really weird to me to even say. And this is coming with a whole heap of different, adventures, toddler adventures. So I just love being able to be open and honest about every single phase and all the ridiculousness that happens with it. And I'm really glad that, mums out there can relate to it and have a bit of a laugh, because we if anything, deserve to have a bit of a laugh about the situation.
If you can't laugh about it sometimes, you need to.
And how do you feel, life's going to be moving from one child to 2?
Yeah,
ready for it?
I'd like to say I'm more prepared this time around, but then, I thought I was prepared for 1. So I'm setting the bar really low.
Great call.
I think for me and my husband, it was a very conscious decision to have a child, pretty soon after. That comes from as well, my mum had us 3 pretty close together, and I just really adore that relationship I have with my siblings, and I really wanted to give that to my children as well. And part of it as well, I'll say, is selfish reasons. I think it's fine for you as a mum, or as a woman, I should say, to sit down and say, well, what do I want out of my life, and where can I fit kids into that? I don't think... I read somewhere, I think it was by Janine Ellis, the founder of Boost You. She said, we don't have kids to fit into their life. We have kids so that they can fit into our lives. And I think we need to, grab sight of that. So I sat down and I said, well, what do I want to achieve in my career? When can I realistically do that? And also I have my 30th coming up, and I wanted to be able to drink for that. So I literally calculated.
Yeah, I missed that, because I was pregnant with my first for my 30th, and you don't really get a chance to redo your 30th ever.
No, so
might have to be my 40th.
And so I really and I'm a planner. So I timed it out, and I said, this is when I'm going to have my kids. And I know it's going to be tough. I know that I'm going to have a baby, and basically another baby, an enlarged baby walking around. But I'm really thankful that I have support around me. And I really assessed that and thought I can really do this if I set my mind to it. So I'm really excited. I'm nervous though. I know it's going to be absolute chaos. But as I've said, to the followers online as well, is double the kids, double the content. So we'll just have to roll with it.
Very true. You got 2 models now. It's handy.
Exactly. I've got 2 extras that I don't have to pay.
Yeah. So true. Well, we wanted to do our quick lightning round just about us. So
one word, if you can, one word to describe your relationship now in adulthood after having children. Or, well, I know you've got one child, but another one on the way.
I mean, I'd say like friendship, because I think there's a sense of we've gone past, a point of parenting. Like I don't really see my mum as I see her as my mum. That's the wrong way to put it.
Yes.
But I feel like there's an element of friendship here now that there wasn't prior to children.
Yeah, and it's nice to share like her experience and my experience and say, oh, this is correct. And it's nice to see the kids coming, and I'm very glad the grandkids are always there and I see them, and that's like which is like and them to know I'm always available. I work, but
nice.
My grandkids are priority.
We'll try and stick to one word.
What characteristics do you think you have from each other?
I would say definitely drive. So, as we said, seeing my mum working really, really hard inspired me to always drive and always aspire to be better and achieve more. And then I'd also say kindness. I'd like to think, as Mum has explained, she works in aged care and she has a real passion for making sure people feel appreciated and feel like they're looked after, and just be kind to whoever it may be and at whatever life stage they are. I'd like to think that I've adopted that as well.
That's very nice.
Who gives the best advice?
To be honest, out of the both of us, I think in different areas we peak on advice, My mum, as still at the age of 67 now?
67.
67, is still kicking career goals. And I know we give advice on that as well. My mum was doing job interviews a couple of months ago and I was giving her advice in that sense. And then on the other hand, she's giving me advice in, parenting and motherhood and marriage and those sort of areas. So I think we exchange advice, and that's what I say. This age, you become friends more than anything, and that's where you can share a different form of relationship.
It's nice to know, like, I'm there for them, but they are there for me too. I advocate and I have something, what I will do there. And I say, Paul, Nikki, what do you think about this? Like, and I know I will, And that's like, it's the best to share with your child.
Definitely.
How many times a day, I have to ask, do you call each other?
Probably few.
Yeah. And it's so funny because when I first moved out, after I got married and then moved out of the family home, I used to go so many days without calling my mum, and I would feel so bad because she would then call me and I'd answer and she'd be like, oh, I haven't heard from you for a few days. How are you going? And you always just blame life. You're like, I'm so busy. I didn't get a chance to call her. And now it's honestly the opposite. I'll call mum and at like 7:30 and say, well, what are you doing today? Because the kid's up and I need something to do. So are you going to be home? Are you going to be at the local cafe, or what are you thinking, So, it's that change of perspective where you have a different relationship, and I really look forward to seeing my mum and spending time with her now, whereas I can now admit that, before you have kids, you're a different person, you have different priorities, and that's not to your own fault. You're just at that age.
That's how life is. Yeah, it's just life. So the next question is who calls the most, but I'm imagining you do.
I think it's me now
Yeah.
because I call for help, whereas mum calls to check in. So you can imagine
Yes.
the ratio, of course.
I can.
Uh,
And the final question, is there anything that you've always wanted to ask or tell each other but never have?
I feel like I've said a lot in this chat already, but I think the biggest thing for me is that, you know, as I've said, Mum, I always now reflect on how hard it would have been for you to be here and raising 3 kids without the help of your own mum, your own family, your own sister, exactly the people that I now rely on. It would have been just incredibly tough. So I so admire you for that.
This was hard. Yeah, it's like you don't have anyone. You can call, you can say, but like wasn't. And my mom died very soon after I come here, like in a year after that she died, and I didn't have mom. I have my sister and I have my brother who are very close, and I'm still very close. I've always been close, and I will call and I will share the things, but it's different when you have your own children and what you share with your children.
Of course,
it's
of
very
course.
different. Yeah.
And I also really appreciate the babysitting because it gives me a bit of time to myself. So.
It's the best. It's the best. Built-in babysitting is honestly, I'd hate to calculate all the hours that.
And anyone who argues that they should be paid, I think we should put that argument down a little bit.
Yeah.
I've never said that.
No, she's not. No, and it's good because I've got both sets of grandparents. There's often a very healthy competition that goes on between the two of them. So if one's had one, well, the boys for the night, then mum feels like she needs to. I'll have them tomorrow night instead.
Well,
And I'm like, okay.
Well, my
win.
eldest grandson, Cooper, that's Jordana's oldest, said Cooper and Mason were staying on Saturday night, and the other grandmother's called Omi. I'm Dee Dee. And he says to me, you know, Omi buys us lots of presents, Dee Dee. I'm like, really? I said, I think I buy you enough. It's like, oh, my God.
They know.
He's even starting the competition, you know.
Because they
that
know
was a bit rough.
I would say,
you have enough.
too bad.
Yeah,
That's
you
fine.
have enough.
But, you know, they can pull on the heartstrings of the grandmothers.
The competition.
And the grandfathers as well. So, yeah, they learn from a very young age. That's for sure.
And Nicolina, when are you due? When are you having your second?
So I'm having my second in July.
Oh, okay.
So I've still got,
same.
you know, a few months of enjoying myself with just my one child. I'm really trying to enjoy him because I know, and you'll probably say the same, Jordana, it'll be very different.
It is very different.
I don't want him to feel too neglected. So trying to, you know, give him the best time ever at the moment. And then life will completely be turned upside down, which I'm looking forward to.
It's all right because he's young enough, you know, it won't take long for him not to remember that his baby brother wasn't there. So it's actually okay. Don't worry. It's probably better that he's younger. He won't remember.
That's true. And he's not strong enough to, you know, push over the bassinet or anything to try and get rid of the baby. So I think I'll be okay.
Well, I wish you all the best with your second child coming. It's very exciting. And I want to say thank you very much for your time and your beautiful story, both of you. It's been just a lovely insight into, your lovely family and, you know, just always gorgeous to hear. A beautiful, beautiful mother and daughter.
Thank you for giving us opportunity to.
That's so nice.
It's an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, and stay dry.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
You too.
I really
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thanks for your time.
Pleasure. Good to chat.
Bye.
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 All right, There it is. Thank you so much for listening in to this week's episode, part 2. If you didn't catch part 1 of our feature episode from the Mothers and Daughters podcast, then head back to last week's episode. Also, head back anywhere throughout the episodes. We have so many episodes out right now. It's been so exciting getting this podcast to you. All different topics: baby sleep, introducing baby to your toddler, there's daycare, there's all different topics. Everything you need to know, whether you're pregnant, expecting your first, just had your second, whatever you need. Hey, if you'd like to catch the Mothers and Daughters podcast and any other episodes on that amazing podcast, just search Mothers and Daughters wherever you get your podcast from. If you're loving the Baby Playbook podcast, make sure you rate, subscribe, whatever you need to do on your platform to support us. Thank you so much. I'm going to chat to you next week.